So first,
Absolutely.
and I was like,
let's dig it all up.
Oh, no.
True.
You'll never guess.
So, sidebar.
Yes. And also, I feel like I shouldn't have to remember everything.
I know.
Actually, I have to talk about this.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I'm Alicia.
And I'm Meredith.
And this is Also Podcast in the City Edition, Season 1, Reunion 2. We've made it to the end. It's over. I'm kind of sad, honestly. Scratch the reunions. I want the show back.
I agree.
Like, I don't know. But I'm excited that it's over. I'm excited for their Season 2. I'm excited to stop talking about Kyle, Amanda, and West. Oh my God. The way we have beaten that dead horse.
I know. We won't stop talking about them, but we're going to get a new version. We don't have to talk about this scandal. It'll be more the fallout, which is what I actually care about now. Yeah. Is what are the dynamics as Amanda navigates these friendships, even though she's been proven a liar. She doesn't really feel remorseful, and she continues to date that man.
Yeah, I get a break from boring-ass Whitney and her stupid boyfriend Kenny that I don't like.
Yeah.
But you need a villain. It's fine. Let's get into it. Before we do, check us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Patreon. All the links are in our description. And please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Okay. So previously on the Summer House reunion, not Summer House, the In the City reunion, we talked about Kyle's sex life with Amanda, but not his sex life with Amanda. We talked about his sex life, period. We talked about it with Amanda. Yeah. Kenny was very defensive. Whitney said Lindsay played the single mom card and didn't really back it up at the reunion. So we pick up right where we left off with the single mom card. Kenny had just said, Lindsay, you collect apologies like you collect souls. And Kenny's like, how many times does Whitney have to apologize? And Lindsay's like, she doesn't have to apologize. I just don't accept it. I was like, that's a power move.
And that's your worst case scenario with Lindsay Hubbard.
So let's hear from Yvonne. Yvonne understands, because this whole thing is because of Yvonne, apparently.
In her honor. Like, we did it for Yvonne. They didn't.
In her honor. So Yvonne understands where Lindsay's coming from because she saw Lindsay go through hell last year being a single mom. And when he's like, that's not how I meant it though, Yvonne. And both Yvonne and Georgina are like, okay, but like, why didn't you talk to the people you were trying to do the gesture for? Like, why didn't you talk to Yvonne to be like, hey, are you really upset with Lindsay? Would this make it better? Because, again, I cannot stress enough if I'm going to fight with my friend and someone's like, oh, my God, it's not even my friend's idea. Someone else is like, oh, my God, let's give Alicia the big room so her and her friend can I'd be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, how would somebody else offering you a room make it better for Lindsay and Yvonne?
No, like, it's not Lindsay's idea. How does that
help?
None
of this makes sense. And it actually angers me because I wish we would have really grilled Whitney and Kenny more to get to the bottom of this. Because it's all like fluff around it and excuses of why they went after Lindsay. And I hate when we don't get a resolution at a reunion.
They really just didn't plan their talking points enough.
No.
You know? Like,
no, because I don't think that they themselves even understand why they did this or how they did this or the reasons or what they were saying.
Kenny didn't coach Whitney very well on how to take down Lindsay
Kenny's bad at this because like they waffle so much all throughout the season, all throughout this reunion. Like they have this inability to take any accountability for their role in this stuff. And so then they can't give a proper apology. And when people confront them because they can't even identify their role in it, they like give all these excuses that they have to keep apologizing or they owe more apologies for, but they keep the cycle going.
They just keep going. So Yvonne even says she was offended that Whitney said that she was standing up for Yvonne.
Yeah.
And tying Yvonne to that single mom comment.
No, that pisses me off too.
And Yvonne says, like, sure, Lindsay and Georgina were, like, being mean, but we were in a fight. They should be mean. Like, that makes sense. And Lindsay's like, I wasn't being mean. I just took the room.
Lindsay.
And then Amanda's like, you were being a little mean.
And this is where it's like, babe, again, like, you just gotta own your piece of it because the minute you become defensive about your piece is like when people are gonna capitalize on making you the villain of things.
But no one came at Lindsay. She was like, I wasn't being mean. I was just taking the room. But Yvonne says that all of the Yvonne Lindsay drama was like a separate issue than this comment made.
Yes.
And Lindsay and Yvonne are good. They talk to each other multiple times a day. They're back to like being besties. Yvonne, Nick, and Lindsay are in a thruple. And Nick loves Yvonne and Lindsay being friends because they're loyal and they have a bond closer than sisters.
I'm so happy to hear that they are actually okay. Like, I was a little nervous based on how the like season ended, because like, yes, they talked, but you just like never know what happens in the off season. So I'm glad like this actually didn't affect them.
I actually think Kenny's, I don't know if it's Whitney was in on the planning, but Kenny for sure is the mastermind of these two idiots. Kenny really wanted to take down Lindsay, and I think they did like the Mean Girls thing where we're like, how do we take down Regina George? We get rid of her minions. And they tried to like pit Yvonne and Lindsay against each other. That's what it's giving, because then like it didn't work.
That's a really good point. Especially just specifically the room situation. Like, I don't think they like set up anything for the wedding to go bad by any means, but they capitalized on that rift to be like, how can we crack it wide open?
They saw the fight and said, let's play on this. This is how we take down Lindsay Hubbard. You guys, they had the board. They're like, we can't take away her hot body. We can't take away her man, so I guess we're stuck with the minions. Yeah. So let's talk about Danielle versus Lindsay. We have to talk about Lindsay's list of Danielle's misleads. Yeah, the grievances. Danielle says she was shocked to see that Lindsay made a list. She didn't think their friendship came to that, and it was giving Kyle's 17-page email, which it was, but it was funny.
It's funny because, wait, what do you think is worse? A 17-page email list of grievances, or somebody who holds on to one in a notes app and brings it up in an interview?
For some reason, I'm just leaning towards like 17 pages is just like too much. Like Lindsay's grievances, there were only maybe 5, probably. The 17-page email is crazy. Plus, he was like sticking up for Amanda. At least Lindsay's grievances had to do with herself. You know what I mean? Yeah.
True.
But like, okay, so Lindsay says her point was that she was, excited to meet with Danielle at this brunch. They spent 4 to 5 hours together. Danielle went over to her apartment, met Gemma. I don't know what Danielle was bitching about. I'd love to see her apartment. She did. And then when the show was airing, Lindsay saw all of Danielle's confessionals again. And I think this is Lindsay's problem
separate.
Always.
That wasn't the new apartment. It was when season 9 of Summer House was airing and Danielle was on that season a little bit as a friend of. And so it was the old apartment right after Gemma was born. And then it's like, whoa. I just introduced you to my daughter, let you into my home, and then this is what you're saying on TV behind my back months ago?
Yeah. So like, I get where Lindsay's hesitant. However, her and Danielle did squash it. But we got to talk about it because we're in the Summer House reunion, or we're in the city reunion. What show is this anyway?
It basically is the Summer House like 4th reunion. Let's be honest.
This is it. Yeah. All the other outsiders are staying quiet right now. We're back in Summer House. So Lindsay talks about the specific confessional about Lindsay doing her gender reveal and how Danielle said Lindsay was doing it in Carl's face. And Kyle comes in and he's like, look, as someone who knows this friendship and knows both of you, Kyle even says watching it, he understands where Lindsay's coming from because Danielle's not actually saying any of this to Lindsay's face. She always says it beside. Like, she says, I'm Lindsay's friend, and then she does all these things behind Lindsay's back. Whereas, like, for example, Paige DeSorbo is known as for her, like, intense confessionals, we'll say. However, if it's about her friends, she's probably said it to them.
Even her enemies, she says it to their face. She shows up with the same energy in the confessional that she does to people's face. Whereas this was a 180 for Lindsay and Danielle.
Yeah, 100%. And Kyle doesn't think Danielle did it with any malicious intent, but it adds up. And Danielle says when the show came out, originally, the Summer House show, she wasn't as tuned in, and she should have been, and she's sorry, and it's on her to watch the show to know what's wrong. The question is asked to Lindsay from someone, and Lindsay's very happy for this question. Why does Danielle...
She's like, Joe from Maryland, thank you so much for the question.
Nay from Delaware, thank you so much. Yeah, why does Danielle owe Lindsay loyalty, and Lindsay doesn't owe it to Danielle? I.e., Carl was Danielle's ex first, right?
This was interesting.
It was, but a part of me was kind of like, I don't know if you can bring up like Carl being the ex because Danielle was fully okay with them dating.
I know. That's why I found this question fascinating to see them address it. Is like,
I never thought about it.
What a throwback. We're going back to season 4 of Summer House. Are you serious right now?
We're going to season 2 when Danielle showed up. My gosh, she takes us all the way back.
Like, I know Lindsay had a list of grievances that did go back to that era, but to me that was more pattern recognition of like, do you see she does this year over year over year? So to bring up like, oh, Lindsay doesn't have loyalty to Danielle because once upon a time she dated Carl. It's like, oh my God.
Here we go. So Lindsay says, and I'd also like to add our 2 cents in because I think there was a lot missing also in context. Yeah. But Danielle says, Lindsay says Danielle and Carl dated for a month, she says a month, but Danielle clarifies it's 3 months. A year before Summer House season 1 filmed. So 2016. So they dated in 2015. And Lindsay says it seemed pretty casual. Then Danielle came in season 2, and Danielle and Lindsay became friends. And then by season 4, and this is where I'm adding my own shit in. Season 4, Danielle, Carl, and Lindsay, all besties.
Yes.
All besties. The way Lindsay and Danielle knew each other's, like, breathing patterns, like, they were so close.
And this is now 5 years after Danielle and Carl actually dated.
Yeah. So Carl and Lindsay they were kind of talking, but mostly there was like a finger bang involved. They hooked up, and then Lindsay like tried to date him, and he wasn't.
It spiraled out of control on a rooftop.
Yeah. But my point is, Danielle definitely knew something was happening, gonna happen, did happen. What Danielle was
secretive,
looped. Everyone knew, and Danielle was never upset about it. So great. So Lindsay was like, so that's what happened. It like wasn't an issue, and Danielle felt like Lindsay framed the hookup like Lindsay and Carl were in a relationship season 4 when they weren't. Which I was like, I don't know what that has to do with.
Because the over the pants hand job, like 2 weeks after they quote unquote broke up.
Okay, yeah.
Danielle didn't like the term like, oh, after we broke up, she gave him an over the pants hand job. And she's like, your relationship wasn't that serious. My thing wasn't that serious. And I do get what Danielle is saying.
I get
but still, like, if your friend likes someone and is trying to pursue them and you go back, even if it was your ex first, you going back after they just ended something so close in time
it's that.
Is the
it's
issue.
The timing. It was 2 weeks later. And Lindsay and Carl, it wasn't just a finger bang. They did try. And Lindsay was very upset when Carl could not meet her expectations.
That is also, Carl is the one who could not meet the expectations. So Lindsay is left.
Lindsay would have dated him.
More upset party. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, yes, then Danielle gave him an over-the-pants hand job in an Uber, the back of the Uber or something. And then Danielle's like, actually, plot twist, nothing happened in the back of the Uber.
Okay, and I was like more confused by that. I kind of don't believe her.
Well, at this point, where have you been for the past 6 years?
That.
Now you're going to tell us that nothing happened?
We're talking about this at the season 4 reunion.
We're talking about the OTP HJ for like ever. And no one mentioned that actually there wasn't. And then even Andy was like, so what was it? Like a little grinding? You touched it? And Danielle was like, there was nothing sexual. And I was like,
no, because if it actually wasn't sexual, she would have put up a way bigger fight of that season 4 reunion. And like, let's say it didn't make air. They would pull that footage.
How is it not even... Okay, you didn't like give him a full hand job, but like, there was something sexual. Even the chemistry was probably sexual in the back of that Uber.
Like, come on, something happened. You guys were feeling each other up over the clothes, making out or not. Like, there was some intention there.
Don't say the Uber driver.
Sexual. What is a non-sexual over the pants hand job, by the way? That's what I want to know.
What is a non-sexual back of the Uber experience?
Yeah.
Everyone I'm in the back of an Uber with late at night, it's a little sexual. Whether we're like gonna hook up or not. Yes, everything's like a little sexual.
It's like we're so close together and we're trapped that like something could happen here.
It could. It probably won't, but like it's the fact that it's possible, it's making it sexual. Like that's crazy.
And if you don't want something to happen, you are so clear about like literally not touching that person.
You're asleep.
You're like, anything could happen in the back. That like one little graze of a knee, like all bets off.
Yeah, we're drunk in the back of an Uber for 30 minutes. Hot.
We're on the way to the courthouse. We're getting married.
Unless someone's throwing up or asleep, that is sexual charged energy. Yes. 2 boys, 2 girls, boy and a girl, non-binary. So it's all hot. It doesn't matter. Yep. So, and also Danielle's now getting upset that like Lindsay's fabricating the over the pants hand job. And I was like, no, that's been the story, girl, for 8 years.
I was gonna say, again, it's like, this has been out there for so long, and now you're mad about what we're talking about? Like, come on.
So, Lindsay says her thing is it's more of like, there's always something happening from Danielle, whether it be like 2 weeks later, there's an over the pants hand job, or in a confessional after they've made up, she has a comment about her relationship, and it's just like crazy. And then, go, say something.
I was gonna say, I think it's also the lack of awareness from Danielle that she's doing anything. Is she does these things. She like strikes Lindsay from the side, like, and Lindsay's so caught off guard. And Danielle always acts like, I didn't do anything. Like, what are you talking about?
How could you not know you were moving really quick? How could you not know Carl and I were going to hook up? He was my ex first. Girl, because
I didn't really do anything. Like, I didn't realize you'd be mad at that. Girl, you just said the most insane things in a confessional. Were they true? Yeah. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
But, like, that was unhinged to do to your friend.
Yeah. To cry at your friend's engagement party, even if you are upset, which, fine, you could be upset that Carl didn't tell you. Sure.
Absolutely.
That's fine. But to cry at her engagement party to all of her friends and make it about you, that's the diabolical part. And you're missing that.
And then, like, you're, like, shocked or upset that she's upset that you did all of that.
I can't. And then... Owen spelled Eon has made an enemy out of me.
Same.
Let me tell you.
Like, who the
send
fuck
him back
are
to
you?
Ireland. I'm pissed right now.
Yep.
Okay, so Owen spelled Eon, who I will not refer to as just Owen right now because I'm upset. He comes in and he says, this is what Lindsay does. She puts in fabrications and lies. And Lindsay's like, it wasn't a fabrication, Owen. There was an over-the-pants hand job. What are we talking about? No, I'm just kidding. But she's like, that was a bad friend move. And Danielle's like, I can't believe this is still an issue. And I was like, I don't know what the issue is at this point.
Okay, Owen spelled Eon?
Yeah.
You don't even know Lindsay. Who the fuck are you?
You weren't
She's always
here.
like this.
You and you're only hearing Danielle's side. What are you talking about? She's always like this.
God forbid she says she has an issue when her friend does something behind her back.
Like, Owen spelled Eon. Go watch the seasons, okay? Go watch Summer House. Lindsay's a lot of things, but she's not a liar.
Agreed.
Let me tell you, she's been caught a lot. She's been caught a lot of things where she maybe should have lied and she didn't, okay? Let me tell you. But, okay, so, does Danielle resent Lindsay for dating Carl after her? Which is crazy. Because what? If I date someone for 3 months, everyone can fuck him for all I care. What?
Okay, 2 weeks after? No, you can't. A year to 5 years to 10 years after, we can discuss it. It depends on the vibes, too.
No, we're talking about, though, Danielle and Carl's situation.
I think
if I'm in that, years later, my friend's like, hey, I'm going to date the guy you talked to for 3 months. For sure, girl, take him around the block. What are we talking about?
I just have like I personally can't date someone any of my friends have. It just makes me weird. But I think the one loophole, especially in this situation, is Lindsay was not friends with Danielle and Carl when they dated. I think 100%. If you watch your friends date someone, it also is a different weirder atmosphere. Yeah.
For sure weird. Like, it would be weirder for Danielle to get with Carl because she's been there the whole time. I.e. over the pants hand job.
Yes, because like when you're consulting your friends on a relationship and then you want to go date that person later, it's like, it makes you question how they were showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, if Danielle and Carl are such good friends that he can bring her onto a show and they don't hook up for the duration of that first season,
there was no chemistry there.
There's no more sexual chemistry until we're in the back of an Uber drunk where everyone's allowed to have sexual chemistry, okay?
100%. It's kind of like the Dara, KJ, Wes situation in Summer House season 10, where like Wes brought on his like ex-fling and was like cool with him dating his friend. Like
it was
there's
fine.
clearly nothing there. This was like a momentary thing. It wasn't that serious, like type of vibe.
Okay, so does Danielle resent Lindsay? Because this person they asked the question says they act like they're best friends, but then Danielle hates on Lindsay to her face. And Danielle's like, well, I'd rather hate on someone to their face than to their back or whatever.
She doesn't hate to Lindsay's face, though. That's, like, part of the problem. They, like, really messed that up. And
she hates to Lindsay's face, like, 6 months later when Lindsay sees it. She's like,
but that's not to her face.
I mean, Lindsay sees it.
It's just getting caught saying the shit. Like, if
true.
you actually hated to her face, you would say that shit. Some stuff she does say to her face, but not all of it. The most diabolical stuff is in those confessionals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Danielle says she knows she's direct and her choice of words sucks and her intentions are in the right place. But she could work on her communication. And I was like, okay, but here's the thing, even if your intentions are like in the right place, the things you do with your intentions are so insane that it ends up being like, I don't give a fuck what your intentions were.
Yeah.
They hurt
it's
too bad.
Intention versus impact. Like, when I'm telling you over and over again, you keep hurting me and you keep doing these things to me, and that's why Lindsay has her list. It hurts. And so, like, unless you're gonna change, like, we can't be friends.
And I don't want to hear it because I'm abrasive and I say shit I probably shouldn't say, right? But I'm not going around to everyone else complaining and then making things about me and doing things over and over again. If you say I don't like your abrasiveness, don't give me your opinion, fine, you don't get my opinion, that's it.
It's like, if somebody confronted you and said, like, that was too much for me, you would be, like, softer with them. Like, you would change your approach with them because that's what they need. It's not about like how you want to show up in the world. It's how you want to show up with your friend.
And also, it's like common sense that you don't go to your friend and start yelling at them about her and her fiance are moving too quickly. Like, you don't go, you're fucking crazy for doing this. It's like, you sit them down the way like Paige sat down with Amanda and was like, you can get a divorce, like, or you don't have to get married, whatever she said, because you're having a hard conversation, but you're coming from a place of caring about this person. Danielle just screams at you until you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Biggest moments and like yells at her for them, or like polices how she's gonna go about them, or gets upset with her for like how it affects Danielle, rather than, like you said, having those like one-on-one intimate conversations about caring about your friend. It ends up, Danielle really centers herself in a lot of it.
Even like when Lindsay was talking about Gemma and how her and Turner like weren't together on the beach, and Danielle like looked at Lindsay and was like, oh, I just don't want you like single momming it. And then in her confessional was like, oh, Lindsay's gonna be alone. There's a way to do that and be like, okay, I understand where you and Turner are. I just want to make sure you're okay. Like, anything you need, let me know.
You and your daughter are protected.
Yeah.
And instead it's like making fun of Lindsay for the situation she could end up in, while knowing that Lindsay is a hustler and will take care of her life whether Turner does or not.
Yeah. Be like, I'm happy you're making the decision. Just know, like, anything happens, I'm here for you. And then when you're asked about it in a confessional, be like, for me, it's moving a little fast, but I'm here to support my friend with whatever she needs. So at the end of the day, like, if it works out, I'm there for her. If it doesn't, I'm there again. Like, you can say you don't agree, but nicely. Anyway, I don't know why I'm like beating this horse. She tends to like
also shame Lindsay rather than like, I feel like the fear of my friend potentially being a single mom, I would put the blame on the man for 100%. Not showing up. Yeah. Whereas it's like, wow, Lindsay's really gonna single mom it up. And it's like, why is that a diss to Lindsay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, Queens of Bravo would really hate our podcast because she loves Danielle.
And hates
Lindsay. Sorry, girl. So, where are Danielle and Lindsay now? Danielle says she's super upset about the Googling of Owen spelled Eon and the notes list. And Owen spelled Eon says that they also have a kid coming, so they can't deal with all the toxic stuff that is Lindsay.
My God. Alicia, immediately I was like, what you said last episode would happen on In the City. Oh, you can't yell at me because I'm a mom.
I told you.
I'm pregnant.
I told you.
Happening in 4K.
I love Lindsay being like, oh, isn't that crazy? You just have to cut out toxic people when you're pregnant the same way Lindsay did with
did.
Danielle, right? And I like that Andy even said something. He was like, "Oh, because do you get where she's coming from, you guys? She cut you out. 'Cause
They
you're
did not
toxic."
expect that.
Nope, they didn't know. So, does being pregnant make Danielle see why Lindsay couldn't have Danielle in her life? And Danielle says, yes, there's more clarity. Danielle says she still would have loved a conversation, but she's apologetic for that. And Danielle feels like Lindsay isn't done punishing her. And Lindsay's like, oh my God, I'm tired of taking the heat for trying to like protect you and look out for you. Like, it's year after year that you are coming at me and I'm somehow the bad guy.
Is like Danielle's really flipping a lot of this into like Lindsay's being mean to me. And it's like, why is her confronting you about your behavior, your words, your actions, and how they hurt Lindsay now a thing about you?
Also, like, if you don't like that Lindsay has a grievance list about you, don't be friends with her then.
True. Also, like, either change your behavior or don't be friends with her.
Danielle's like begging for her friendship, and she's like, however, I can't let all these random things go, like you Googling my man.
That's the thing, is like Danielle has a grievance list too, and Danielle's are like, okay, get a grip. And Lindsay's are like, you slander my name and make fun of me in interviews. I'm checking to see what a date was. And these are not the same thing.
I expect nothing less than for all my friends to Google a man who might still be married that I'm dating.
I'm sorry.
Hello?
It doesn't even matter if he's married or not. Alicia, if you told me the name of a guy you were dating and I Googled him and you were mad at me for that, I would say get a grip.
I find cute guys that I see on dating apps on LinkedIn. I haven't even met them. And I'm finding out where they work, what they do. If they're bots,
it's like,
I'm there
you're
already.
mad I'm Googling because of the information I'm gonna find.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you're mad. You, like, want to project your madness that I'm doing something wrong when it's, like, clearly the information out there is wrong. If I'm spreading misinformation from the Googling, fine. You could be mad at me. However, a simple Google search, it's just data on the internet. Like, God forbid.
Like, I feel like Danielle and Owen Speldion, like, did not watch the actual episode because it really wasn't bad.
No, they literally said, they were literally questioning how long he had been married in a non-judgmental format. Just saying, like, we don't know the years. We're so confused about this divorce. Lindsay does a quick Google search, finds it, and they go, okay, like, 2 years. On. Yeah.
Great. Oh, so Lindsay's, she's tired of taking the heat from Danielle. She says she has a kid, doesn't have time for this negative energy. And she goes, and then next thing I know, like, Danielle's on the show, and that's fine. And Danielle's like, but you hate that I'm on the show. And Lindsay's like, no, I actually hate that you're on the show, but you won't share anything.
I also think it's like, okay, this is the format that I don't like being friends with you in, is you don't tell me things to my face and then you do a confessional and I have to see it back 6 months later. That's not normal in real friendships. So the fact that we're both on a show together gives you these opportunities to potentially do this again. So yeah, I'm a little fearful of you popping up on the show that was promised to me, Kyle, and Amanda. Like, I didn't know you were a part of it.
Yeah. And then also, how dare you come on the show that I've built? I've been so honest about my life through everything. I got fucking broken up with on camera. And you're going to come on and not even tell us how long your man was married for? Like, you're not going to share anything?
As if fans aren't going to do that?
You want to ride on my coattails for the show? Are you fucking kidding? And then Owen spelled Eon, who's also getting a very nice check from the show, is like, here's toxic drama Lindsay. And I was like,
oh my God.
Get him off my show.
No, the way he was like, yeah, you guys just love stirring up drama. I was like, you know you're on a show, right? On a TV show. No. The only way people are going to watch it is if there's drama. If we talk about things. Like, we have scenes to do. We have beats to hit. What the fuck are you doing here? I've never understood Lindsay's, like, at that wedding being like, why are you guys here? More.
No, because if it was up to Owen spelled Ian, we would just be sitting there the whole time being like, so what's your favorite color? Blue?
That, nice. And also, like, you're not forced to be here. No, nobody required you to be here.
No.
You go home.
If Danielle wanted to be on the show, you could have been friend of. You don't actually have to say shit, right? Okay, so Lindsay doesn't know what Danielle thought was going to happen here. That, like, we weren't going to talk about your man's marriage when you bring him on a show. And Lindsay's like, And that's why at the wedding, she said, what are you doing here? So then Andy's like, oh my God, Lindsay, my second producer, let's talk about the wedding. So was Danielle's dress pink or white? And Yvonne immediately goes, it was white. I was, be petty. I love it.
I mean, yeah, stand on it.
She says if Danielle was invited to an all pink party, they wouldn't have let her in. I was like, I think it was a little pink, but it was too light pink to wear to a wedding.
Correct. I think at an all pink party she would have been let in. I'm gonna be honest.
I do too.
Because it's not the same like seriousness at an all pink party if you showed up in white and everybody's like, I kind of think you're wearing white. Nobody is that offended. At a wedding, you don't take those chances though of missing the mark.
Listen, a first wedding, a third wedding, you cannot miss the mark. If the bride's there, you cannot wear white.
It's one color. Like, it's one color. And the fact that Danielle says she texted, like, 17 people, I was like, girl, you knew you shouldn't wear this.
And Danielle's like, now I realize if you have to text, you shouldn't wear it. And I go, now you realize.
You knew that then. You knew it then.
That's
and
common
I understand
sense.
It probably was annoying to go out and get a new dress and you didn't want to do that. But these are the moments that you're setting yourself up to look like an asshole on reality TV. And you should have been thinking harder about that. This isn't your first rodeo.
Yeah. Also, on reality TV, if this wasn't being filmed, maybe Yvonne would have, like, taken a chill pill about it. But, like, we've got to be mad about something, you know?
Yep.
And then Yvonne says she got Danielle's text an hour before the event, which is also diabolical, Danielle.
Oh my God. What do you think she's like 2 days in advance?
Yeah, what do you think she's doing? And Yvonne says she glanced at it and said, you look great, and didn't really think about it. But also, remember that controversy that Danielle edited the photo to make it look more pink because in the back, the plant was like lime green? Ooh. Okay, so Yvonne says Danielle put her in an awkward position. And Danielle's like, in the future, okay, I won't do this.
I was like, okay, good to know at the 17th wedding, you're not going to wear white.
Thank God. And then Owen spelled Eon is like, why are we even discussing this? And I'm like, welcome to a reunion, bitch.
Oh my God. He is my least favorite. When we get to our list at the end of this episode, episode, I just want to say that we did this before we watched this episode.
100%. Well, welcome to the OC, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. That's the show.
Get off my screen. If you're not going to show up and share your life, I'll give you a few random things that like can be off limits, but something like a divorce, you can't hide that from screen. Like, sorry, that's not how this works. And then you can't be mad that there's drama and people want to talk about what's going on. That's the literal point of a reality TV show.
Oh my God, I can't.
That's like going to therapy and not wanting to talk about your trauma.
No, literally. Like, he is in for such a rude awakening, dude. Then if you can't be around toxic drama, don't be on season 2. You're gonna have a newborn.
Get off my screen. I'm not joking. If he's on season 2 and doesn't show up and show out
below Amanda,
I might have to start bullying somebody online.
Below Amanda, we're becoming an Owen spelled Eon hate account.
At least Amanda will talk about shit.
Yeah, yep, that's right. So Danielle says she's actually more upset that she retaliated by calling Yvonne a bitch. She just thought in the moment she was being set up. And Yvonne's like, you set yourself up.
It's true.
And then Danielle apologizes for calling her a bitch. And then Andy's like, okay, let's move on. So remember when Danielle on Summer House said she trusted Amanda the least? Why? Yep. And Danielle's like, I feel vindicated, which you should, girl. And then Danielle says she felt that way because she didn't know what she was going to get from Amanda ever, or like understand who Amanda is. And that can be scary. And like, you know, she likes more stable situations where she knows what she's getting, and she never got that from Amanda. And Amanda says she fully understands that because she was never really friends with Danielle, so she never let Danielle in. So it was all very surface level. Mm-hmm. So where do Danielle and Amanda stand now? Danielle has no relationship and will never have a relationship with Wes Wilson. And she thinks Amanda made a mistake and shouldn't have done what she did. She appreciates Amanda texting her and Owen spelled Eon, like looking back at their situation, how Amanda called her a homewrecker. What?
I'm so curious what day she sent that text.
Why?
Because if it's before the scandal broke, it's like, oh, you had guilt about that and your own situation. So you knew you were doing something wrong. I mean, she knew she was doing something wrong with Wes anyways. That why would you hide it if you weren't doing anything wrong?
Yeah.
But, like, you knew the layers to it as well.
Oh,
if you
interesting.
were feeling guilty about Owen and Danielle.
Interesting, because homewrecker. Ooh,
Yep.
got it.
Yep.
I got it. It was before the episode aired, is what Danielle said. But that could have been
episode aired after the scandal.
Yeah,
so.
that could have been anything.
Yeah.
Danielle says, though, there's a long road with her and Amanda, which I was like, y'all never be friends.
I'm so sorry, but that road will never be fully built.
It's
and, like,
close.
it's partially because you guys are just vastly different people. Like, I'm gonna be so for real. And you don't have the history that, like, Lindsay and Amanda do.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Danielle has been on the show for a few years, but she came a season late, and then she left and was a friend of, and didn't even like Amanda at any point. Like, Lindsay and Amanda have gotten to a place.
Well, Lindsay and Kyle are also, like, such good friends.
Yeah.
Whereas Danielle and Kyle, I think, are just, like, friendly. You know what I mean?
Lindsay and Kyle were friends before the show even came about.
Yeah, so I think, like, if Amanda's gonna date Kyle, she's got to have Lindsay in her life. Whereas Danielle, not so much, because she came through Carl. And Carl and Kyle, though, like, now they're boys, it did take them a few seasons to, like, get there. Because Kyle didn't know Carl prior to the show.
He is the one who actually met Carl. He brought Carl on.
But they
still,
were new, right? They were like newbie friends.
They'd known each other for like a year. And still, their relationship has had a rocky road, especially the last few.
Yeah, so there's just like, Danielle and Amanda should never be friends. Anyway, Kyle also texted Danielle. Oh, no. Sorry. Kyle's surprised that Amanda texted Danielle. And Danielle says the text was appreciated, but there's more to sort out. Amanda apologizes again. She says she cringed watching the homewrecker comment.
And
which
that
I was like,
she also said she had to fast forward scenes. And I was like, babe, you have to watch the shit you do. I don't believe you're sorry unless you can watch it and reflect on it.
Yeah. And I like that she watched this show, but I'm sure she still hasn't watched Summer House.
Absolutely not.
Great. So Andy for the win. Andy's like, hold on a second, forgive me. But reflecting back on sitting here months ago for the Summer House reunion, the apology for Danielle was clear, sincere, taking ownership, remorseful, and that probably would have gone a long way with Sierra. How does Amanda have that clarity with Danielle when the betrayal and friendship was stronger with Sierra? Ooh. And Amanda, bunch of word salad if you ask me, she says she was terrified to go into the Summer House reunion.
I don't like that.
Consequences of your own actions. Terrified. Also, it's giving white woman scared.
Yeah.
You're terrified of a woman of color. That's great. That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Love that. Amanda can't say this without sounding bad, which she says herself, which I was like, then don't say it because that's not the right thing to say, because there's something you could say where it wouldn't sound bad. You know what I mean? But she says she couldn't get a word in, and she felt like every time she tried to say something, she would get cut off or interrupted, and she got frustrated that she couldn't speak calmly, and she got defensive instead. And she's like, and I did apologize. And I was like, actually, Amanda, you said you were prepared to apologize.
And you wouldn't even look them in their eyes. You were like staring down at the ground, giving that little line about how you were going to, at the end of the day, apologize.
To Sierra and Kyle, and Sierra rightfully said, I'm glad she could say our names this time.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I don't think you were remorseful. And it feels like you can't even take responsibility for your own defensiveness. When you showed up there, it's like, they made me defensive. I couldn't get a word in. Okay, they deserve to say whatever the fuck they wanted to you. You're not a victim of how they showed up to the reunion. You're the cause of that.
Yeah. And if you were saying something worth listening to, they would have stopped talking. But you didn't. Yeah. You actually didn't. You just got defensive and they didn't want to hear that, so they interrupted the fuck out of you. Yep. You actually said nothing.
All they were was chirping her. It's not like they were screaming at her and really yelling. They were just like making comments on the side, but they always gave her the space, to the point where when they would make comments, Amanda would have to say, what'd you say? Because they weren't yelling at her.
Nope. And if I remember, she had plenty of time to say a lot of shit, and she never said anything worth a damn.
Yes, and Andy would have forced them to stop talking to let Amanda fully finish an apology. had she been prepared to deliver one.
Yeah. Andy's like, hey, have you considered reaching out privately? Because I think that could go a long way. And Amanda's like, yes, I even had this whole thing written out in my notes app, but I learned I'm blocked, so there's no point in sending it. And I was like, okay, you could get her that message if you wanted to.
That, and also, you heard you're blocked, so you don't actually know. You didn't attempt to send it, you didn't try at all. You just, like, said and hit one little roadblock, and you're done trying to give an apology. Yeah. That tells me you don't actually mean it, and you don't want her to hear it. Because if, Alicia, if I had hurt you this bad, and it ended our friendship over it, I would be still sending texts, because at some point maybe you will unblock it, and I want you to see that I've been trying. Yeah. I would send you a flower arrangement with an apology. I would try to email you. Like, I would try, without stalking you, every chance I could get to apologize to you.
But you know what she could easily do? She could say, listen, Lindsay, I know that she doesn't want to hear from me, but I have this note. Could you ask her if she'll read it, right? And then Lindsay has the option to be like, hey, Sierra, Amanda gave me this. Do you want it? Do you not?
That. Like, at least the effort is there of writing it, because if you write it and fully, like, try to send it, even if she doesn't accept it, it shows that you, like, wanted to give the apology. You did give the apology. She just is not open to receiving it.
You know where Sierra lives. You can drop this off yourself. Like, Kyle has a relationship with her. Jesse Solomon has, like, there are so many people who haven't blocked you that you can reach out to about this.
And no, my God, you could
even give it to Danielle, and Danielle could probably get it to her. Like, it's zero effort. It's so fucking ridiculous. Anyway. Yeah. So, let's talk about Owen spelled Eon being vague about his divorce at boys' night. And he's like, yeah, I was being vague on purpose. And Andy's like, why? Why wouldn't you just say it? Because even Andy's like, honestly, haven't you seen the show?
It's not that serious, too.
And Owen's like, oh, this was a new group, and I don't really know the people here, so I didn't understand why I had to talk about stuff to people I didn't know.
No, I still don't get this. Because, Alicia, if I meet someone who says they're getting divorced, one of my first questions would be, how long have you been married?
I don't think Owen's met a person in his whole life. Because when you meet a stranger, you have to be open about things. Like, imagine on a date, right? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm divorced. And they go, how long were you married? And I go, it's none of your business. Telling you that. That's crazy. Or what's your mom's name? I'm not telling you that. Crazy. It's very simple questions. If you ask me my social security number, sure.
Yeah, but especially when they're, like, naturally coming up, because weren't we talking about Kyle and Amanda's fraught relationship? Yeah. And how they're getting a divorce, and is Kyle taking steps? So the next thing we're going to go to
talk
is
to the divorce
who
guy
understands getting divorced.
Yeah, and also, Owen spelled Eon. Welcome to a reality show where you get cast with people you don't know, but you have to be weirdly open about shit, especially when your whole character is the divorced guy. That is all we know. You are the Irish divorced guy, and we've seen you drink a lot of Guinnesses, so now we got to talk about the divorce. We get the Irish part. You know what I mean?
Well, he dropped the ball on the potatoes. He said he doesn't like mashed potatoes. So you really got to deliver on the divorce.
My God, I have literally met people and left after a few hours knowing everything there is to know about them.
Same. I know more about the random guy I met at a bar last week than I know about Owen, who I've seen on my screen for the last 11 weeks.
I don't know anything about him. So he says this was the other, like, he actually is so stupid.
No, I wish somebody would have called him out for this delusional statements about not opening up.
He says he wasn't really concerned with the cameras, but it was interesting how people had questions once the cameras were up. And I
did not have questions. Oh, no,
did have questions when the cameras were up.
Did not have questions after the cameras went down. And I was like, well, yeah, you were a dick about... Well, yes, absolutely. We're going to ask way more questions for the show.
That's a show!
We want this to get picked up. Of course I'm going to care more about you when the cameras are up. But the thing is like, you also shot me down. So why would I ask again?
Yeah, Gavin's like, you made it clear you didn't want to talk, so, like, we're not talking. He's like, oh, but you didn't ask again when the cameras were down. And Gavin's like, Okay, the job is to ask questions when the cameras are up. And then if you don't answer the questions when the cameras go down, I'm not going to continue this conversation that honestly, Gavin probably even doesn't really care about. The person that probably cared the most was Kyle because he's going to end up like Owen. So,
but then also like,
what?
Okay, yeah, if you think that like I'm not getting to know you on a off-screen basis, I understand that. Like, some people are different on-screen versus off-screen. Is our relationship real? So if we were talking about this stuff on-screen and you felt like people didn't show up the same way off-screen, like, oh, we're not actually friends, that's for you to clock, okay, we're just on-screen people. Like, why are you mad at them for that? Change how you interact with those people then. But also, like, if I already learned this information on screen or didn't learn and like we hit a roadblock, if I was on a show, I would assume that how I show up on screen would be the same off screen. So like if I already found the information out or you gave me a roadblock, why am I going to continue just because the cameras are down?
Also, if Owen was like so concerned, he could have, when the cameras were down, be like, hey guys, I just really don't want to discuss someone else's divorce with me on camera. So like, I'm happy to answer your questions here.
Yeah,
but
you have to make the space for that. Danielle did the same thing where she was like, there are things I would tell you not in front of the cameras. And it's like, okay, so just because you guys are conscious of the cameras and like we'll only do things off camera doesn't mean we will. Like, sorry, we're all willing to put it out there, but you're not.
No, it's crazy. Then don't be on a reality show, you weirdos.
You aren't held at gunpoint here. Get off my fucking screen.
If you want the check, give me the stuff.
Reality TV stars who won't put it out there but want to take the money piss me off the most.
Piss me off beyond. So Lindsay clarifies that when she was out Googling Owen spelled Eon, it was the boys that came in to complain. The boy at boys' night, they came in complaining that Owen wouldn't open up. And Kenny's
Which is
like,
true.
Yeah, and Kenny's like, oh, you mean the men? And Lindsay's like, no, I'll call you a man when you act like one. Anyway.
Shut the fuck up.
So Lindsay's like, these boys are gossiping. So she's like, why would we gossip when I can just open up Google and find the facts? Which, it's also crazy that Danielle and Owen are not mad at the boys. They're just mad at Lindsay. Because the boys were gossiping way more.
Of course, it's because we hate Lindsay and Lindsay's our enemy, and because they need it, just like Kenny and Whitney, they need a reason to be mad at Lindsay. So like when they find her step 1 inch out of the line, they're gonna attack her over it. And even Gavin is like, we weren't even gossiping. We were saying how we don't know the answer to this information. And Lindsay said, let's Google it. Easy.
Yeah, Gavin's like, we weren't even egging her on. She just like, it was fine.
It wasn't nefarious. It literally was like, we just had boys' night. We're hitting the beats. Here's the information. Like, here are the questions we asked. He didn't answer them. Lindsay said, that's easy to find online. Problem solved.
And Danielle's like, that's crazy, Lindsay. And I was like,
it's not.
Is it? Okay, so Owen spelled Eon and Danielle would like to marry once the divorce is finalized. Great girl, have your man. Y'all are perfect for each other at this point.
Wait, can I tell you at this point, I did look up if he's still married, even though like that was not that long ago.
Oh, are you Googling him?
I Googled him.
You have an enemy in Danielle.
I Googled him and I went to the Reddit thread about his relationship to get the tea. So
Danielle's
they're still married.
Mad.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously they can't get married. Danielle and Owen can't get married until his divorce is finalized. That is not done. And she doesn't expect them to get married for a while, which kind of makes me feel like this divorce will take a while.
Rough.
One thing is you cannot, I'm going to put this in quotes because I'll explain like how to get around this, but you're not supposed to file for divorce in New York unless you've proved that you have been separated for 6 months, which also is probably why Kyle and Amanda haven't filed for divorce yet. But you can file immediately and say that you have been separated or that your relationship has been like you can't repair it for the last 6 months. So like Kyle and Amanda could probably say that
they have footage that can prove that too. We don't even need word of mouth. If we need proof, we got proof.
Yes.
Where do you want to start?
That's why like Owen's divorce might be taking a while because like maybe they couldn't file for a minute. But when I went to the Reddit thread, and I don't know if any of this is true. This is the tea that's online.
This is gossip.
Is that, so Owen and Danielle met before he even got married. And then obviously like reconnected later. Owen had been living in Miami and the Irish wife here in New York, and he had been living in Miami for a year.
She is Irish?
Yes.
Okay,
They're
great.
they're both Irish. They're living here. So they lived in New York together, and then actually maybe she isn't Irish. Either way, they were living in New York together. They separate and he moves to Miami for a year. And the tea is that it's a miscommunication on him getting together with Danielle. And this is where there's the gray area. Is some people say that Owen and his wife were both knew that they were going to get divorced, but she didn't know he was dating anybody. So when they finally decide and like make that final call and decide to get divorced, and he steps out and has a serious girlfriend, she thinks he had been cheating the whole time.
Okay.
But it's kind of, it could also be that. But there's this like giant gray area of when did Danielle and Owen start versus when did they really decide that they were done versus like really separate, even though he was living in Miami. But by the time Owen moves back to New York, him and Danielle are together and him and the wife are fully separated. But it's like this giant gray area of everything else.
Ooh, what happened in Miami, you know?
I don't know. And I don't know how they got into contact. That really wasn't in the thread that I saw.
I'm interested about that. I love knowing about how people like reconnect after years.
Me too.
Especially people like where like you weren't talking supposedly for a very long time and like how did this happen again? Because let me tell you, no one from high school or college has slid into my DMs to try and rekindle.
Like, what was the moment where you like truly got into contact for the first time, and then when did it pivot to like romantic, like trying to pursue things? Is very interesting.
Very interesting. Like, and also how do you go to like, are you still with your wife? You know what I mean? Know. That it's all like, interesting.
Allegedly, Danielle was like posting photos of them when they were dating, and it was in that gray area. So, like, to Danielle, I fully think that she thought he was separated. Like, 100%. I don't think Danielle was like pursuing a married man.
No, this is on Owen.
But it's like hard when you're like, I've been posting about him, and I'm like a public figure, so like I wasn't hiding this. We weren't hiding this.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. I love that. Thank you, Reddit sloobs. Okay. So, can Danielle and Lindsay move forward? Danielle's like, I just don't want another list of grievances, but we can move forward and make new mistakes.
Oh,
and Lindsay's
Lord. I was like, Danielle, no new mistakes.
Lindsay's like, fine, whatever, clean slate. And Danielle's like, also, no more Googling. And Lindsay's like, I'll Google everyone, so how about that?
I'm glad she said that because you're a lunatic, Danielle, for thinking it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I'll Google if I want to Google, okay? You don't have to be my friend. I'm going to Google. Anyway, so let's move on to Kyle and Amanda. Yay. Okay, so was Kyle grateful that Amanda chose to move out? Kyle says he knew the relationship was potentially not repairable, but he still wanted to take care of her and provide for her, and he wasn't going to initiate a separation. So, like, good for her on that. Did the group know that Kyle made out with someone after Amanda and Kyle got married? No one knew. Amanda's like, I didn't tell anyone. Amanda's all smiles. She's like, I kept the secret for so long.
Girl, you shouldn't be proud of that.
Because now, like, we're not questioning it because we're inclined to believe you. But, like, there's a part of me that's like, you can tell a soul.
This conversation made me question why they got married and why they stayed married 10 times more.
No,
because, like,
literally.
I already thought you had a shitty marriage. And then, like, you're telling me all this information. I'm like, no, truly, why did you stay? There was nothing there.
And then Kyle's like, hey, we protected various aspects of our marriage. He says he's not proud of his indiscretions. He doesn't exactly remember them. There was just like this picture of him really close to this girl on the dance floor. And Amanda's like, it was at a club and you were solo by yourself dancing with someone and there's a video. And I'm like, honestly, can I be really honest? To Amanda and Kyle, I really don't give a shit at this point about the details. If you're not going to release the video, I don't give a shit.
If you're not going to release it, this is from 5 years ago. You guys chose to stay together.
I don't
Why
care.
am I supposed to care about this?
I don't care. What do I always say?
Is this the one where Amanda says, like, yeah, it was 100% proven because this person told their friend and they're 100% sure, but, like, I didn't see anything and all. Like, there's one point where Amanda weaves her way into this is 100% true to, like, I don't actually have any details. No. And I was like, what?
That was separate because then they talk about getting into a funk and not having sex right after their wedding. And Amanda's like, well, one of us was having sex because I heard that when we were married, a person's friend that you had sex with came to me. And Kyle's like, what? And Amanda's like, yeah, I found out recently that after we split that you had sex with someone while we were married from this person's friend. And Amanda's like, I don't have anything to show because I've been offline for a minute, but I have found a lot of stuff out throughout our relationship. Okay.
I was like, oh my
but you
God.
You chose to keep showing up. If you choose to stay, you gotta forget about the past.
Yeah. Especially, okay, that one, okay, she didn't know during it, but that one is such a
separated.
telephone game. I'm like, what?
Also,
no.
You're already having sex with someone new, girl. You cannot be mad at this point.
And I'm also hearing that there's no actual definitive proof, because the one right after they got married was him dancing too close to a girl on the dance floor, and we're not 100% sure. And this one is from somebody's friend who said this, who said that, whose brother did this. No details, no girl's name, nothing. So until I see a photo of Kyle or video making out with someone, or a girl who he did it with comes forward, it's hard for me to believe this.
Can I also, this is just me, but I find it hard in, I don't know, from years 2026 and onward, that if a public figure is constantly cheating, no one has their camera to get it.
Especially
at this point.
In public, like at clubs.
Like, that just seemed like we saw him at the frat house. That I believe he was there. That's crazy. But, like, it's just hard for me to believe that he's always out cheating on her. She hears all these things. And, like, it's never been leaked to the public.
I agree. There's always the DMs about it happening, but never, like, substantial proof. Because when we heard that Kyle spent the night at a fan's apartment, all these people started coming out with all those videos of him at frat houses, but he was just being Kyle up till 6 a.m. with them. Which
is wrong, but sure.
Wrong, inappropriate, absolutely. And we all called that out. But we didn't see him kiss a girl. We didn't see him hanging on a girl. We didn't see him, like, flirting with a girl. We didn't see him even sitting down talking to a girl. So what?
I find it hard. Like, literally, if we're at a club specifically, right, and they don't know I'm really there, I see a famous person, period, making out with anyone, I'm taking a video of it. Yeah. Now, if I know that person's married, for sure I'm taking a video of it.
Yeah.
Like, hello, you're not going to cheat in public. Did you ever hear that scandal with the Try Guys? Do you remember this? Like, he literally got caught cheating on his wife at a club because someone filmed him. And that guy's way less known and popular than Kyle Cook.
And that was like an actual affair because he worked with that girl. So they were like keeping it a lot behind closed doors. So sure, if Kyle was like having these affairs behind closed doors, I can see why there's no photos. But
he's
like
not
Amanda
being careful.
is saying that they're happening in clubs and in public spaces. And again, I will believe this.
I can believe
when
her.
a real person who did it with Kyle comes forward.
Yeah.
But it's like Amanda's version of getting these DMs. It's hard for me to believe it because a lot of people will DM with fake stories.
And most of these things you've kept until right now.
Yeah.
In your divorce.
When it benefits you to make you look better.
It just doesn't, anyway.
Because it's Kyle not even knowing that these existed too. It's not like they had these issues constantly and they discussed them during the marriage too. And so Kyle's like, yes, we worked through that. Yes, like, I don't remember doing it. I'm not sure if it happened, but we did discuss it and try to move forward when these things were happening. It's like she is the only source of knowledge on this at all. No one else knows any of it.
Yeah. So Amanda's also upset that the night before she was supposed to move out, he's hanging out with strangers, and the music was so loud the neighbors were called. And Kyle's like, hey, I just didn't want to be alone. And
Amanda's did you hear what she said? She said that they were in the apartment for Loverboy. So it's like, oh, so he didn't bring strangers to your guys' apartment. He brought it to the Loverboy apartment.
These two Amanda wouldn't let Kyle talk. Kyle wouldn't let Amanda talk. I was like, both you kind of suck. I don't know what's happening. There was something about a gay guy and his friend or something.
Those were the people who were after the
I was like,
marathon.
Who cares? Amanda's like, I was hoping that me moving out would change the situation. And I was
That
like,
is the problem.
girl, you hadn't even moved out yet. He hadn't had a chance to miss you. He still hated you.
You were married for 5 years. If that man wanted to change, he would.
would've.
But like you
Yeah.
also like started dating him, got engaged, married him, and he has consistently been this person. And so on the night you're moving out, now you're pissed that he's not changing? Like
On Marathon
he's
Sunday.
never going to. Of all days, yeah, Marathon Sunday, he ain't gonna change.
So Lindsay's like, can I ask a question? Why didn't you guys have sex for 4 years? And Amanda's like, well, I was depressed and Kyle wasn't courting me. I'm sorry, I laugh every time someone says courting because I find it so funny. Anyway, she says Kyle wasn't courting her. He just worked and then wanted to have sex. There's no foreplay, no conversation, no dating, and Amanda just felt used and like an object. Which I get, girl.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this is so valid. But Kyle's like, and then she's like, and then Kyle would still go out and then we'd have more fights. And Kyle's like, can you imagine though? We got married and then we never had sex.
I don't, this is the moment where I was like, I don't get how they got married.
They had sex 3 times in their whole marriage.
3 times in like 5 years. No.
Here's the thing. I get it. Kyle's not, well, okay, wait. I want to keep going really quick and then we're going to get to my point. Because Kyle's like, I couldn't do anything right and I was trying to provide. And he says that everything that ever happened in their relationship, he had to arrange it. Every trip, every getaway, every date. And then on top of that, he's putting in hours of work. And I would like to say this. Amanda, I get it, girl. First of all, you depressed. You don't want some dick. That
Absolutely.
100%. The other thing, though, where you're like, Kyle wasn't courting me. At some point when you're married, I get you want to go on dates and stuff, but you can also plan a day, right? If you want to hang out with him so bad, be like, hey, you're shutting your computer tomorrow and we're going to go on a date or else I'm fucking divorcing you or something. You know what I mean? But she just sat around like waiting for Kyle to be like, hey, babe, what should we do?
And that's a huge theme in their marriage is Kyle does all of this stuff. But it's not the exact thing that Amanda may want, but like she will not accept everything else he's doing like for her and for their relationship, for their future, like all of it. It's if he doesn't plan a date on Tuesday, if he's busy, it like we're done here.
It just depends because a lot of women I think would find it like very sexy if their man like pays the rent and is always like working and doing things for them and being like, okay, now I want to like treat him. And it's just like it's dependent on the person. And I fully get that. But also there is a middle ground, right? There's a middle ground where, yes, Kyle maybe should like work less and pay attention to you more. But there's also a middle ground where you understand what Kyle's going through and maybe like give him a fucking break. Like you both are so extremists and you cannot see that like Kyle's like, I'm out here providing. And Amanda's like, all I want is a nice meal. And it's like, you can do both. Yeah. You can meet in the middle. Yeah. Maybe Amanda takes out Kyle because she's like, you've been working so hard. You're paying rent. I got money. So I'm taking you out. And then you're going to woo me in bed, you know? Like, but.
And Kyle seems like the type where he puts his head down and just works.
Which
and until he has a reason to pick his head up, he won't. So to be honest, while he should be planning some dates, at the start, he probably won't because he's not used to like making himself stop is hard. So like you planning a date, you planning a vacation, like kind of forcing him to stop and pause is good for him in a way to love him and force him to have that quality time and care for your relationship. And then the more you do it, the more he's likely to do it for himself because he won't have as much anxiety that like he has to get all this stuff done. He'll realize that he can stop and pause for 2 hours and go to dinner and like his company won't burn to the ground.
And listen, I don't know a lot about 10-year marriages or relationships, okay? I haven't had a lot of those. But I will say, my parents, very much in love. I get it. They have kids. It's a different situation. I don't remember them ever, the two of them hanging out. But I do remember my dad coming home from work and just like giving my mom flowers. And I remember my mom making my dad dinner so when he got home from work, he could just eat. It's like little shit that you do. You're not gonna be forever going on fancy dates, right? Like, but you can make time for each other in the little things. Like, they would even, once we all went to bed, they would sit down and have like a 15-minute conversation on their day.
I love that.
And that was like it. And so you have to like meet people where they are because like my dad didn't want to go to work, but he had to provide, and my mom understood that. My mom also had to go to work, right? And she was taking care of the kids, and my dad understood that. And
I think that's where Kyle's fault is like, we know he doesn't buy her gifts. He doesn't buy her birthday gifts, Christmas gifts.
Yeah,
like,
that too.
He really dropped the ball on all the little things. So even if he wasn't taking her on dates, he wasn't doing any of the things that, like you just mentioned, and are a great way to stay connected. You're right. They were at the extreme opposite sides.
She wants all gifts, all courting. She's the princess. She has to do nothing. Kyle's like, I'm providing. I'm giving her a good life. I'm doing all these things. But they just like cannot meet in the middle. She can't make him dinner for after work, and he can't come home with flowers. Like, it just like...
How did this relationship last this long?
Hello? I'm like shocked, honestly. Anyway, so Amanda's like, yeah, you were putting in tons of work and then you gave me a book on how to date an entrepreneur. That's hilarious. That's terrible. Divorce immediately.
Okay, hold on.
Hilarious.
But I want to know what's in the book. Has anybody read it? Because if it like walks you through the mindset of this person,
maybe
it's kind of like the love languages, or
you give someone a book on anxiety and
attachments.
Depression.
Yeah, it's like how to like interact with me best. And if Kyle felt like, hey, I want you to be able to understand who I am to my core, I think that's okay. However,
hilarious.
Like, you need to be doing something back. Like, Amanda's not the only one who needs to change here.
No, that's funny. And then when everyone was like, Kyle, he was like, it's a good book.
I am just curious what's in the book.
Hilarious.
Because Kyle, the content of the book will make me judge Kyle more or less. I think it is wild to give someone a book, but like I would be happy to give someone a book about attachments or love languages to like have a better perspective on who I am.
No, you're right. If I can't communicate with someone and they don't like a part of me, here's a book on anxiety that I relate to. Yeah. Okay, this is the best way for me to communicate with you. I do. Okay, you're coming. Just
I don't
hilarious.
think it's as bad as it sounds.
Okay.
I think the right time, the right perspective, the right placement of it, it can be a useful tool depending on what's in the book.
She's like, you never spend time with me. And he's like, have this book.
That's where it's wrong. If he just tries to use it as a Band-Aid, like, read the book, you'll feel better.
She's like, I don't have sex with you. And he's like, read this book. You'll get it.
That's so unfortunately good. How I do think he delivered it.
So hilarious.
So I don't think him delivering it was right.
The funniest thing I've ever heard, honestly, because it didn't happen to me. If it happened to me, I'd be like, excuse?
But I think that's also like the relationship you have, and can someone come to you and be like, hey, this is how I want to be approached. Like they don't have that type of dynamic.
Yeah, I cannot explain with words correctly, so please read this book to understand me further, and we can talk after.
Like, there are books I would be prepared really to give to partners, because it's like, it's really hard for me to describe in a like neutral way, like some pieces of my life. So here is a perfect way.
It's actually a really nice gesture, actually. I actually
done
want that.
Right. There's
that's
no
really
way
nice.
Kyle did it right.
No, hilarious. He did it in a way that's hilariously
He probably
bad.
like threw it at her too.
Yeah. He got it delivered through Amazon because he wasn't home.
He's like, that package is for you.
For Amanda. Happy Valentine's Day.
He can't bring her flowers, but he brings her books.
That was on their honeymoon. He was like, and I have another present for you, babe. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Yeah, great. So Danielle asked Kyle if he's going to have infidelity in the future, since it sounds like he's always out here cheating. God. And he's like, no, because now I understand that once you lose trust in a relationship, you can never gain it back. Which I was like, damn,
Kyle.
Whoa. But also, you can gain it back. He just didn't. You know what I mean?
True. I don't think Kyle understands what cheating on Amanda truly did to her and how to earn it back. let alone, like, I just don't think he takes it seriously. But I also don't like that, again, it's like we're assuming he was out there on the streets banging some chick
But
every
then,
Friday night.
this was also hilarious. Amanda's like, remember New Year's Eve when we went out with your family and then you blew raspberries on someone's neck?
No, I need to know more about this. I'm gonna be honest. Because what?
That was so. And Kyle was like, yeah, my whole family was there. She was there. I blew raspberries on her neck. And Amanda's like, hello, I was right in front of you. He's like, yeah, you saw it. It wasn't a big deal. That is again so funny. What are you talking about? And what woman wants that?
No, I want to know how the fuck this came about, because I find this weird, but I do somewhat understand Kyle being like, no, I did it in front of your face. This wasn't something nefarious. Yeah. But I'm like, that's so fucking weird that you did that anyways, whether you're married or not. Listen,
I'm not with Amanda on like, that's basically cheating, because she's like, you had your lips on another girl's neck. I'm more of like, what the fuck are you doing?
In general.
I'd rather you just make out with her in front of me at that point.
Agreed.
Blows raspberries
in front of our families?
Just kiss her. At that point,
would have been easier.
Kiss her. Stick your dick inside her. Less weird.
I still need to know from Kyle. Please walk me through the scenario of how you started blowing raspberries
she went,
on
hey,
neck.
She went, hey, give me CPR, but on my neck. And he went, no problem. Blows. No. It's so weird. How does that even happen? No one's ever, partner or not, blown raspberries on my neck.
No. And I've never seen it happen either.
No. That's the other thing. It's never been written in any of my TV shows I've ever watched. This is the first.
Anything.
I didn't know this was a thing. I feel like I just learned a new sex position that I like didn't know people did.
Agreed. Like the only time I think of like blowing raspberries,
it's gonna be
it's gonna be a weird thing coming off of your sex positions comment.
Yeah,
but it's like, it's like that's like you like blow them on a kid's like foot to make them laugh. Like. Yeah. Who does this?
I didn't know this could be a sexually charged thing.
Kyle, you're weird, not in relation to your marriage. You're just weird.
At this point, I don't care if you cheated on her. What the fuck is this?
What are you doing?
What are we hearing about blowing rats?
And then everybody stands there and watches you do this, and we're not making a big kerfuffle out of this?
Is your dad not ashamed about you blowing raspberries on some woman? Amanda or not? It could have been anyone. If he blew raspberries on Amanda's neck, I'd be like, pause.
No, my family would be like, who are you? What are you doing?
Ew. I don't think my dad would let him come home.
No.
We'd leave him there. This is so strange. I never knew this could happen, like, biologically even. I didn't know.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, so Amanda, let's talk about the scene where she's having lunch with Wes and Sierra, because it definitely landed differently.
Yeah.
And Danielle's like, that was weird, because it seems like you had eyes for Wes, and you were there, and you were kind of checked out on your marriage at that point. So, like, and Kyle's like, yeah, Amanda was giddy. And Amanda's like, no, I was just so happy that, like, I have my two friends. And she's like, how diabolical would it have been for me to invite my two friends if I was hooking up with Wes? And Lindsay's like, hello? And then Danielle
was like, exactly.
That's diabolical.
Because, okay, even if you didn't have eyes for him then, how do you 3 months later have eyes for him? That's what's weird.
So happy that Danielle and Wes Sierra and Wes were friends.
You're almost there. Like, you're just round the corner and you've almost gotten to the point. Like, I swear you're almost there.
So I took a picture of Lindsay's face when Amanda was talking about how diabolical this was. And I know the podcast listeners can't see it, but can you see it?
Yeah, send it to me and I'll edit it in too.
She is horrified.
I just, like, Amanda's like, no, I would never, because that's diabolical. And we're like, yes, exactly.
Hello. Do you see what we see now? That's crazy.
And that's who you were going home and fucking tonight. Like, come on.
Yeah, and she's like, she didn't know Sierra and Wes were hooking up then, which I also think maybe is a Wes thing that he should have told you. And if you were okay with that, that's also diabolical.
I know.
It's all weird. Okay, so then let's talk about Kyle and Amanda at Yvonne's third wedding. Gavin does not feel guilty for stirring the pot. And
And I
Yvonne's
love
like,
him for
what?
it.
And Gavin doubles down. He's like, it's what's best for them. They stopped doing couples therapy, so I'm a therapist now.
Okay, I kind of agree with that. If, like, you guys are separated and, like, your storyline is we are the separated couple this season and you're not doing anything to resolve it, fix it, mend it, or even decide that you're going to be fully separated, question on the table, just like Owen's divorce.
Just like
this
Owen.
is up for discussion.
And then let's also talk about Danielle saying Kyle found a loophole by doing this whole DJ thing. And Kyle's like, that really hurt because you're diminishing my DJ career. And you've known me for so long. He takes this so seriously.
So seriously. And then the way he's like, I actually did dry January and performed 8 shows in January and I didn't drink once. I'm like, Kyle, I agree. It actually isn't about the alcohol. It isn't.
It's about getting out of the house.
But, like, you are using DJing as another way to escape your marriage.
Yeah, he's
and
like,
alcohol funnels that.
He said he was lonely. So, like, to be around people in a social environment, that's what he needed.
Bingo.
Sober or not. And Amanda says she still gets messages about Kyle being super drunk at events. And now Kyle can't blame socializing on Amanda. I'm like, what the fuck do you care if he's drunk or not? He's going through a divorce.
Like, why are people sending this shit to Amanda?
Oh, guys, stop.
That's weird when they're separated and she's fully in a new relationship.
And Amanda's like, Kyle, be mindful. And I'm like, of what? You weren't?
Why are you trying to parent him? He's not your problem, first off. Second, they're like, oh, you became a DJ to get away from me. No, I do genuinely think Kyle loves music and he also loves that. Did he also use it to evade your marriage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he didn't only become a DJ like to piss you off. That is
That's just
diminishing his accomplishments. Correct. Like, that sucks. And it's like, oh, see, now that you don't have me to avoid, like, you're still out there doing it. Yeah, because he loves it and he's getting paid. He needs money. There's multiple reasons why he became a DJ.
Yeah.
I do think one thing is to stick it to you and your little swimsuit line that you wanted to do. He loved music. He needs to pay his bills. It all worked.
And I think he sees all these other Bravo stars being DJs. He's like, I could do that. I love music more than them. I can do it.
I love music more than them. This is my scene. This is perfect.
I can promote Loverboy all the same. And he's like,
it's all lined up into this DJ
If it pisses off my bitch of a wife, I'm in too. Yeah.
Yeah, that is, pissing you off is the cherry on top to all the shit that actually is the reason he became a DJ.
He's turning into Joe Giudice when he's like, oh, my bitch wife. She's such a cunt.
That's so true. Kyle is Joe Giudice on the phone in the vineyard. But instead of talking on the phone to another woman, he's talking to his manager about his next DJ gig. And he's like, oh, yeah.
Get those 14 shows in Vegas. My bitch wife will hate it. She's such a, here she comes. She's such a cunt. Yeah. Oh, that's one of the best scenes in Housewife history. Anyway, Andy asks if he can ask Kyle a question that's going to piss him off. So in Summer House, there was this moment where Kyle called Amanda a dumbass bitch and a fucking idiot.
It's not funny. It's just insane that happened.
How often does this happen? And Amanda's like, it happens all the time. But also Amanda is so smart. She has that smug smile that like...
Yes! I took a screenshot of that where she's like...
Yeah, it happens all the time, Andy. Thank you for asking.
Why are you happy about that? Like,
girl...
Why did you stay in this marriage?
Girl, I'm fully on your side until you do something like that. And Kyle's like, I feel like we equally yell at each other most of the fight, and Amanda initiates it. And he's like, yeah, we have yelling matches. And Amanda's like, usually you're yelling at me, and then I yell back. And Kyle's like, oh, you don't need everyone to rally around you, Amanda. Calm down. And Lindsay's like, okay, we have to talk about the fuck me eyes. Because
the fuck you eyes.
The fuck you eyes. Because she says Amanda was giving fuck me eyes to West and fuck you eyes to Kyle.
So true.
Whoa. Good for Lindsay. And then Andy says the fuck you eyes fight was alarming. And also, it was even crazier that the next day was Kyle's birthday and they both asked like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Which is not a new thing for this show, which Kyle says they always do this. They've been putting on smiles for years. And Kyle says Amanda cannot say that behind closed doors, Kyle yells at Amanda. And Amanda's like, yes, I can all the time you do it. And Kyle brings up a time when he woke up Amanda to walk the dogs and she nearly hit him. And then Amanda laughs and is like, stop with the name calling, Kyle. And I'm like, both of you need to just be divorced. At this point.
I hate this. I fully believe Kyle yells at Amanda more than 100%. Amanda yells at Kyle.
He calls her names all the times for sure.
Absolutely. But him giving like a clear story of something that happening and she didn't even rebuke it.
She just laughed.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you two just want the other person to be the biggest villain in this divorce, even though you guys like still want to maintain contact and like be besties. It's weird. It's giving weird. Like parents that should be divorced and are still married, but like you guys are divorcing, so like it's you so don't crazy. Have to be besties.
No, it's I not.
I hate it.
Well, okay, because then we talk about the divorce. And Amanda's like, oh, Kyle wants a walkaway divorce, but isn't just walking away. And Kyle's like, well, there's certain things that I need from you. Like, you need to get your shit out of the apartment.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh my God, Amanda, you gotta move out. And she's like, oh my God, you guys, not me. And
I can't believe she still has her shit there.
There's dog-related stuff and money-related things. And Amanda's like, let's not talk about it on here. And I'm like, I don't think this is really a walkaway divorce, girl. I think
also, you brought it up.
And Kyle's like, I still pay for your health insurance. And Amanda's like, yeah, thank you so much for that. Which, okay, Amanda, here's the thing. This man, I'm sure, does want to walk away from you and wants to, like, cut it. But it sounds like you won't fully let him. And you're still on his health insurance.
Which, that makes sense because until there is a actual change in status, you can't change your health insurance unless
but she's
it's
paying, or he's paying for it. She's not paying him back.
That's what it is. Is like she needs to pay for it. I understand them being on the same policy because of everything going on. And fine. If he's paying for it just because he always has, sure. But it's the way she responded of like the expectation, like, of course, like, girl, you're a full fucking adult. Manage your life. Or don't act like he should be doing this and then that he's the bad guy and all this stuff. Because, like, here's a situation where he was showing up in your marriage, in your relationship, even in your friendship now for you. And you don't actually honor that. You just expect it. It's like bare minimum. When, like, that's not bare minimum.
The health insurance is big. Listen, people do a lot for health insurance. Yeah, hell yeah. And Georgina says Kyle's really getting a golden ticket here because everyone hates Amanda because of the scandal. And he gets to be the good guy in the divorce. And Kyle's like, listen, I put a lot in this marriage and I didn't get a lot out. And I was like, dude, you really lucked out. You don't even know.
I'm like, Kyle, yes, that's true. But that's not what we're discussing here. Is like, you were a menace and you have to own that. And I really am sick of everybody acting like Kyle is some like golden boy now. It is crazy. Is he like... Can we now celebrate him? Yes, I'm fine with that. But we gotta stop acting like Amanda was the villain in the marriage.
No. She just was the villain at the end of the marriage. So now that's what Kyle's remembered with. But like we cannot forget. We went from
like Kyle being an absolute menace and we only saw his problems to now we understand that Amanda was contributing to some of these things. So we're closer to the center. But neither of them are off the hook in my book.
No. 100%. So final moments, Kyle and Amanda feel lighter. There's love and friendship between them. Amanda gets emotional thinking about the good times. And I want to be like, what good times,
what good
girl?
Times? I'm like that therapist. When were you guys happy? When were you in love?
Andy hopes Amanda and Kyle can figure out a friendship. Lindsay's like, they definitely can. Look at me and Carl. And he's not a mess anymore.
Lindsay.
Nice.
Sweet baby gorgeous.
I love her.
I love that you and Carl came back together. These two should do the opposite of you and Carl.
No, I love it. Gavin and Kenny are still best friends. They just love poking, you know? Kenny's dad is very happy for Whitney and Kenny kind of getting married in Peru, but Kenny's going to marry this woman, so it doesn't even matter.
Sure.
Andrea and Lexi forgot they were there. Who?
What to do?
And they just talk about their sex life, which fucking freaks. Danielle and Owen are excited to raise their Irish, Puerto Rican, New Yorker. Amanda is happy this day is over, that summer house is over. Where are her and Wes heading? she's not looking into the future right now. She's taking it day by day. And Andy asked Kyle, will summer be fun this year? And I really wanted Kyle to say, with Amanda gone, hell yeah. But no, he says, summer should be fun and summer will be fun.
Appreciate that.
Oh, we're done. Okay, let's do some fun things, Meredith.
Yes.
So, throughout the season, we did in the city, out to the suburbs, where we kept one person from each episode in the city, and we kicked one person we hated out to the suburbs. Do you want to guess who our top people were in each category? Where do you want to start?
Let's do out to the suburbs first.
There's a tie for first.
Okay, I think I know it.
Okay, what do you think?
I think it's Kenny and Whitney.
No.
But Amanda is another option.
Amanda and Kenny, yes.
Okay. We just doubled Whitney once, I remember, and so I couldn't remember if she had more there.
No, she came in third. Okay. She's in third. Okay. Yeah, but she didn't make the top two. Okay, in the city, we do have one clear winner.
Lindsay Hubbard?
It is Lindsay Hubbard. Yep,
and then Georgina is probably second.
No, she's third, actually.
Is Gavin?
Gavin is second. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I picked him a lot.
Yeah. Those were our top three in each category, but in the end, Lindsay came out on top. Amanda and Kenny came out at the bottom, which we'll take.
Gosh.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. With our rankings, first episode to last episode.
All right.
Who do you think that your first two were on that first episode?
Lindsay Hubbard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Did I pick Kyle Cook?
No. No, he was number 5 on your list.
Ooh, who did I make? Yvonne? No, Gavin. Maybe I gave Gavin.
You Georgina at second.
Oh, Georgina. Yeah, I still stand by that.
Your first two were consistent, first and last episode. And then who do you think were your most hated?
Katie DeLuca.
She's not on the list. She doesn't exist.
Okay. Jesus. Kenny, for sure. No?
Yep.
Oh, and maybe Nick. Or, Owen?
No, you had Kenny and Amanda for that first episode.
Oh, duh. I keep forgetting Jesus.
I know. And you ended with Nick and Whitney being your last two.
Oh, yeah. Shout out, yeah. Kenny at least gave me drama, so I'll take his ass.
True.
Yeah.
He was 10th on your list.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
My first episode tops were Lindsay and Georgina as well. They were my favorite in the last episode, keeping that spot. And then I ended with Nick and Kenny as my last. Or Nick and Kenny were my last at the first episode. And Whitney and Amanda were my last by the second.
You were pretty aligned then. That's pretty...
Your dislike of Nick was more than mine. I didn't think about him at all.
I think when I had to send my cast rankings for the final episode, he was there and I was like, yeah, what did he do? You know what I mean? And so
to the point where I didn't even have him on my list. When you gave me the list, I was like, oh, Nick exists. And I slot him in there. When
I was thinking about it at the end, I was like, at least Amanda gave us like some shit, even if it was bad. Like hilarious when she left that final episode and I was like, now we can all have fun. Like she gave me bits. Nick was just there.
Nick and Whitney are boring.
They're just a little boring. Nick's lucky he's partnered with Yvonne, though, because Yvonne's got something. She's got to step it up a little more. You know what I mean? She could be Lindsay Hubbard crazy if she wanted, but...
I was going to say, I think she's learned a lot. Yvonne has in our first season and has a lot of space to kind of grow into.
I agree. And then our middles are middle.
There were just a lot of like meh people, so they really need a hustle and bustle there.
Wow, Georgina, I've heard that people are very mid on her, which I disagree.
Really? Okay, after this, we're both gonna pull threads that we like, and I'll put them on online. But I still haven't looked up what people have been saying.
No, I'm like in the dark, which I kind of liked. But
I'm excited to break the dam now.
Yeah, I want to see where I am for In the City. Okay. Well, what a season. I guess our next time we'll see these people are Summer House, which will be fun and exciting. And then we'll hopefully get In the City season 2.
Yeah. Because next we're moving into Vanderpump Rules season 6.
Yeah, we got to finish.
We got to finish that. Yeah. And then, we'll get into Summer House live season after that.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We've got a lot still planned. Even though season ends, the podcast never does. We'll be doing this till we die. So do all the things I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. And with that, love ya.
Thanks for joining. Bye.